What's up, everybody? How are you doing? I am James Hake. This is gonna be the Hake Report. It's Monday, April 11th. I started to get that vocal fry. 2022 AD, Anno Domini. That's the year of our Lord. And it's 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm live on all platforms, at least according to this Restream viewer. We're going to have a fun loosey-goosey Monday show. Shall we have a loosey-goosey Monday show? I don't know if we've had one of those in a while. Maybe they all are. I just don't necessarily name them that way. Today we're going to talk about, well, did you catch my appearance on Azzmador's show, The Crypto Report? Very cool. It was fun. I'll tell you about it a little bit. Maybe take some calls and feedback. Blacks and SJWs. I have this clip from this competitor radio show out of, I don't know where they are, New York or something. They're talking about, oh, blacks feel like Biden has not kept his promises. We're scared. Voting rights. George Floyd Policing Act. And all kinds of phony stuff. And there's a whole bunch of Ketanji hype still. Well, there was Ketanji hype going. You know, the black female who was affirmatively actioned to the Supreme Court. So-called Supreme Court. Well, I have a little article that I'm going to share with you. Oh, my gosh. An affirmative action article. Propping up women and blacks. Oh, my gosh. And speaking of insanity, transgender madness. You guys, if you caught the J.C. Lee Peterson show today, you may have heard me get cut off at the end of hour 2 of JLP because I was trying to get it all in. And I'll get more details for you on the trans madness and some sensible stuff going on, including from a female governor. Isn't that nice? A female governor out of Alabama, Kay Ivey. Kay Ivey, based or lame? And some super chats. People still talking about Miss Parks, a legendary first time caller to the Hake Report. When was that? Was that Friday? Because I said, what'd the KKK ever do? Give me a break. I think that it's overblown. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how are you guys doing? I am fine. I am wearing one of my King of the Cage t-shirts. I'm standing up a little bit for the people to see it. Look at that beautiful bald eagle, right? The bald eagle. One of the symbols of freedom, I think, supposedly. I don't know. Or maybe it's a symbol of the federal government. And a beautiful American flag. King of the Cage. It's an MMA, I don't know, league or something. I don't think league is the correct word. And it's not and the sleeves are not cut off. Max Rex, or whoever is the one who wants me to cut off the sleeves. Oh, man. It's not available on the Hake Report Teespring store, but you can go to thehakereport.com or to teespring.com/stores/the Hake Report and peruse what I offer. I'm not touting any Hake stickers on my laptop currently, but shout out to Michelle67, I think is the one who gave me To God Be the Glory sticker. Get a Job, from whom I bought this Get a Job Teespring sticker. And my friend who gave me this beautiful Confederate style flag patch that I have taped to my nice laptop. Guys, thanks for joining me. It is Monday. Hope you had a nice weekend. I did. Had a nice, restful Saturday. Very cool. I recommend it. And a nice Sunday, too. Excellent church with Jesse Lee Peterson. They're always excellent, right? I highly recommend them. Check out. It is available on Rumble and Odysee. I'm talking about Bond Rebuilding the Man channels. Did you know? And even BitChute, as well as YouTube and the Church with Jesse Lee Peterson audio podcasts. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Let me just read a couple of super chats here before I get into this mess going on in the world, as well as your calls. First, super chat from Based America First. Says, Elon Musk turns down the Twitter board position. Yeah, I heard about this. That would have limited his ownership to up to 14.9%. Because right now he bought like 9%, right? Something like that. And now he could buy more and get up to 14.9% had he agreed to join the board of directors of Twitter. Then he says he wants to turn Twitter headquarters into a homeless shelter. He says nobody goes there anyway. Everybody's working from home, I guess. I don't know what he means by that. Twitter headquarters, is that up in SF, San Francisco? I don't know. Is he using the threat of buying more shares to bully them around? Yeah, I saw this headline from Disclose TV. I follow them on Telegram now, I guess. And Disclose said something to the effect of him rejecting being on the board. Yeah, suddenly declines a seat on Twitter's board, opening the door to a hostile takeover, was what the headline was from 3:29 a.m. here in L.A. A hostile takeover. I like the sound of that. I mean, is he tough? Is he based? I don't necessarily think so. But I do, I prefer him to anybody else over there. This guy, Parag Agrawal, whatever, Twitter CEO. Let me tell you about this Twitter CEO. I've talked about him already just last week. 37-year-old male, Indian-American. Not American Indian. Indian American. So he was born in India, in Ajmer, Rajasthan, India. And this guy said this quote, and I read this quote both to you guys earlier, like last week, as well as on Azzmador's show, The Crypto Report, crypto with a K, Krypto. He said this about, and I got this from Wikipedia, right? Whatever. In an interview with MIT Technology Review in November of 2020, when asked about freedom of speech, this Parag Agrawal stated, quote, "Our role is not to be bound by the First Amendment," as Twitter, right? "But our role is to serve a healthy public conversation." And Azzmador and those guys, his co-hosts, such as Hate Farmer and Tony Castle, shout out, guys. They said, this is not a conversation. It's a one-way, it's a monologue. And that's true. You have to agree with what the party says. And the party is the establishment social media, establishment political landscape, establishment mainstream media. You have to go with what the party says. I'm mocking like 1984 type language, where they run your life and mind. You're not even allowed to think your own thoughts or think the truth. Okay, so serve a healthy public conversation, not be bound by the First Amendment. Bound by the First Amendment. Like the First Amendment is supposed to bind you. No, it's supposed to free the people. I mean, it's supposed to protect the freedom of the people. I'm like baffled because I heard that there was a debate among the founding fathers that they shouldn't even make the first 10 amendments, right? The Bill of Rights, because these rights should be so obvious they should go without saying. But now, since they're written down, they can take them away, kind of thing. I don't know. It's weird. But these people don't even believe in the right of the people. focus less on thinking about free speech, goes on this Parag Agrawal, this Indian guy who doesn't have our values, running a so-called American company. Thinking less about free speech, but thinking about how the times have changed. Meaning, get rid of the whites, get rid of the Christians, no longer a white country, no longer a Christian country, no longer a just or free country. Now they have social justice, which is not justice. What a mess, huh? Shameful. And so Elon Musk, the South African, will he save us? But we'll see. Will he bully them around? I don't know. Anyway, that's a long interlude. Thank you, Based America First, for the super chat. Some more super chats coming your way, or coming my way. But thank you. I'll shout them out for you. Hydro says, it's amazing how Joe, this was a few days ago, and I don't know if I read this. Is he talking about Joe from Phoenix? Did I get a call from Joe from Phoenix? Sounds just like, I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson. Interesting. As in Ketanji Jackson. John WX25 says, you should have asked that creature to spell KKK. I don't know if I read that one on Friday, and he's referring, by that creature, he's referring to Miss Parks. Was it Rosa Parks? Did I hear from Rosa Parks on the Hake report? Lord Bibby42 said, Rosa Parks, as in Miss Parks, sitting on the front of the bus to this day. Ms. Parks, you don't know love, you evil, vile woman.
To this day.
Thank you. You're taking years out of hatred for your half-white grandchild on Hake. I know you're bald like your idol Jada Pinkett Smith. Wear a wig, ugly. I might have read that one, but it was funny enough to read over again. Ego strong with Ms. Parks, says you is full of hate on Streamlabs. She doesn't hang up when Hake says he's going to hang up so she can have more airtime. White people with black friends are racist, but black people can't be racist because they have a biracial grandchild. Also, almost called her Maze. And your girlfriend, and I know I read this one, says, say what you want about Maze, but at least she lets you interrupt her, interrupting you, and knows not to cuss on the phone. Listening to Ms. Parks rant for a minute, and it's shocking to believe a woman like her became a single mom. And that's sarcastic, of course, because it's not shocking to believe a woman like her who's like all pushy and ranty. I should put out a clip of that call. It's kind of a instant legendary call, I guess. Classic call. By the way, if you guys want to put out clips of Hake, you're welcome to. You people with YouTube channels or Odysee or BitChute or Rumble channels can put out clips of Hake that you think are interesting and funny. I won't copy strike you. And I'd appreciate it, actually. And I may even share it if I like the clip. Just a little idea that I thought I might throw out there. Well, thank you, guys. I'm shaking my head. And by the way, I did let that Miss Parks woman cuss, like, way more. It may be affirmative action on my part. White guilt. False white guilt that made me, and, like, letting the woman run the show, because she cussed up a storm. Anna, over there in Missouri, said, you're just letting her run right over you. She's not supposed to be cussing. You said that you were going to hang up on her, but she was just too entertaining. Blacks get a pass because they're entertaining, you know? So apologies to the kids. Say not apologies, I guess, because I would probably do it again. So I guess I'm not sorry, but please pardon the Hake report for allowing Ms. Parks, my elder, to cuss on the Hake report, okay? I did protest every single time she did it. Anyway, few more super chats, guys. Let me get these out there, and then I will get to calls. All right, because normally I don't start off with super chats. Azzmador stated a couple days ago, we need book burnings. Lots of evil books out there. Yeah, very true. And I said that, and I agree with that. And I think I might have said that on the show because PEN America. I talked about PEN America last week, PEN. They're supposedly for the free expression and journalist rights and stuff like that. but we're journalists. I am a journalist, except I'm not the disgusting kind of typical journalist, hopefully. They clamp down on the free press by clamping down on the freedom of speech of the people. You know? And there are evil, disgusting books, vulgar ones, and they're pushing them on kids. And so PEN America's all mad because there's like 700 books that have been banned across several states that target children with the LGBT, gay, transgender agenda and fake racism propaganda. So evil, yes. We need book burnings. And not the kind of book burnings that Amazon does that burns and bans any beautiful Confederate, beautiful Dixie flag paraphernalia. Not that kind. There's good and bad censorship, right? I think so. Yeah, thanks. Uncle Ted 88 with another super chat over there on Odysee, odyssee.com/@thehake report says, great time Saturday on the crypto report, Jason Hank. Well, thank you, Uncle Ted 88. Appreciate it. Nice to see ya. Appreciate the support, and it was very cool. And Jason Hank is a reference to Hate Farmer, I guess my prior interview on the crypto report over 2 years ago, kept on referring to me as Jason. Anyway, last quick super chat, guys. John WX25 says, how do you have a conversation without the freedom to speak? Yeah. More proof of the virus liberalitis. Virus liberalitis. Incurable virus brought on by too much male gender fluids. As in gender fluid people, not bodily fluids necessarily. Sorry. I just made that worse. But yeah, I agree, man. Female-minded males, they may not even consider themselves gender fluid, but so many effeminate males, we got to overcome that. Not good. You're not a sellout journalist, Hake. You have honor. That's kind of you. Thank you. Uncle Ted 88 asks, what books did the Nazis burn? That's something to look into. I wonder what books the Nazis burnt. Because they say, oh, book burning, and it's a reference to what the Nazis did. Perhaps I shall look into that and report back. Although some of you resident historians may well know already. Let me get to a call here, guys. We are at 18 after the hour, and I will cover this this mess. Blacks and SJWs. They're acting like blacks agree with the SJWs, and many of them do. But part of the issue is they're just ignorant of the stuff that they support. Although Tony will go right along just like sleazy Joe Biden with anything. But let me get to Jeremiah in Louisiana on the line. Jeremiah, how are you doing?
This is the day the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it.
Thank you. You're coming in a little rough there. Come close to your phone. Are you on a speakerphone or something, man?
Can you hear me now?
I think so. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm in the boonies, so I'm going to have to make it brief.
Okay.
All right. So I hear y'all often say, like, stuff like, don't listen to your own thoughts, right?
Yeah, JLP says that a lot, and it's true. Yep.
Right. So I'm asking now, genuinely, what am I supposed to listen to?
Hake. You're supposed to listen to Hake.
I'm not supposed to listen
all right.
to
You
no
asked
man.
genuinely. Let me give you as genuine an answer as I can here. Listen to common sense, which you may not be able to recognize at this point, but I do recommend you do be quiet. Do JLP's silent prayer. It's not against your religion, I don't think, to be quiet. And even the Bible says, meditate within your heart on your bed. It says that in, like, I forget, the Psalm or something like that.
So that's the book that you're referencing, right?
Oh, yeah, because I'm referencing it because you and I both agree a little bit with the
we
Bible.
agree on that. Right.
Yeah.
So, but if I meditate and I go in my inner self, that's still my thoughts. So I'm not really supposed to listen to that. Your heart is deceitful above all things. Who should know it? That's what the book says also.
Yeah.
So if I go and meditate in my own self, I'm still listening to my thoughts. So who am I supposed to listen to?
God within, because God also wrote his law on your heart. Did he not?
Are you speaking about the book of Jeremiah or the book of Hebrew? I think that's Hebrew and Jeremiah.
Whichever. He said it both places, right?
That hasn't happened yet, Hank. Obviously, we're not there yet, because if we go inside our hearts and we still don't know what the law written on your heart means, we don't know what the law is, then how is it going to be written in your heart if you don't know what the law is?
Didn't it say?
If you go inside your heart, you're going to listen to your heart. You're not listening to the law that's written in your heart.
I get what you're saying. That happens with a lot of people. You're so right. Maybe you should be quiet more then.
So if I'm evil, right?
Yes.
Since you think I'm evil, right?
I know you're evil.
So what am I supposed to listen to? If I'm evil, I'm listening to evil thoughts inside, right?
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to listen to? Like, help me out.
You should do the quiet prayer, because you'll realize stuff about yourself and about other people. When you realize stuff, you notice stuff. Have you ever caught yourself being wrong?
Yes, I have. But how do I know how to correct it if I don't? If I'm just listening to myself, I'm gonna listen to something biased. So how am I supposed to correct my wrongs if I don't know the law?
I think it's God who corrects you. You don't correct yourself.
Okay, right. But if I'm listening within myself, I'm going to be biased.
Yeah, you usually are. Yeah.
It's human nature. I'm gonna be biased. I'm not going to recognize my wrong.
So you don't believe? Has God not put His Spirit inside of people?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes.
Then there's the evil heart, and then there's God.
Okay. For that guy that called Jesse Lee Peterson saying that he would homeschool his kids and just listen to you on, this is what you would get. You would get I don't know. That's what you would get most of the time.
Yeah, because each one has to know for himself. The Bible even says no longer will a neighbor teach his neighbor, saying, know the Lord, because each man will know God himself.
So are you saying right now that we're supposed to learn that book and meditate on that book?
Nope.
That's okay. So yeah, you're off.
I'm off.
So you're supposed to listen to yourself.
No. So in other words, you're saying you don't believe that God is in you.
Listen to God within you.
Yeah.
Oh, He's in me, but it's because His law is in me. It's not because of my own vain thoughts.
By His law, you mean thoughts. You've memorized the book? Is that what you mean?
I am memorizing. Yes. It's interesting that you said that you're Sabbath Saturday.
Yeah.
Your Sabbath. Right? That was interesting.
Nice.
But,
you agree with taking the Sabbath
on the seventh day? Yeah.
Nice.
But you would basically just listen to yourself. You wouldn't listen to God, because you don't know me. You don't even know what He would do. You don't even know what He would say to do in situations. Situations come up, you wouldn't know what to do.
No, most of the time people don't, so they just guess, or they misapply, quote unquote, God's word.
You would get homeschooling somebody.
You listen to you. You misapply God's word all the time. You think it's so important that you're a black and you're a Hebrew Israelite.
When have I done that?
You've pretended that Jesus was really some other name and He's black, and that you're a true Israelite, and this is so important, and this is your identity. What a mess.
Well, I mean, you don't even go by the book. You like to quote the book, but you say, oh, it's not important. You don't go by the book.
I go by it more than you do.
What kind of sense does that make?
I go by it more than you do.
What kind of sense does it make to say don't go by the book?
I bet you I know the Bible better than you, at least the important parts.
You know, the reason you may know it, But
Yeah.
the devil, so does the devil. The devil knows it
I
like
know.
the back of his hand.
Like you.
But it's because y'all have been taught since an early age. We've been lost since an early age. And it's prophetic. You know what I'm saying? It's signs and wonders, Hank. Signs and wonders. The very things that you ridicule and scoff and make fun of black people about, you will know in that day that those were the signs and wonders that you should have known not to mess with us like that. You can talk all you want about
Mess
black
with
people.
you
It's
like
cool.
what?
Made fun of the people that is in trouble.
Did Elijah
Elijah
not mock the false prophets who were cutting themselves and trying to call down fire from their false gods? Did Elijah not mock
like
the
yourself?
people with false gods?
The false, yeah, like your gods,
Like
yeah.
your false
Zeus-
god, your
the
false
Zeuses
god
and
of
the Odins
blackness.
and the theologians that go around promoting these false gods.
Yeah, those two.
Yeah, he absolutely did.
Yep, and he mocked the black Hebrew Israelites because they're suckers as well.
Really?
Yeah,
He was an Israelite.
yeah, seriously. No, yeah, he wasn't
an
black.
Israelite.
Right, he was
an
not black.
Israelite. Well, I'm not black neither.
Yes, you are.
So what are you talking about?
Black-hearted.
I'm not. I'm brown.
You're black
I'm
on
brown.
the inside. Black with
That's
hate.
And you got that from Mormons? Are you Mormon?
No, what are you talking about? Mormons.
So that whole black on the inside thing, ain't that what the Mormons like to say? Oh,
I wouldn't know.
weren't
I'm
talking
not.
about black
I'm not
skin,
into
we were talking
Mormons
about
like
black
you.
on the inside.
Yeah,
We're
but
talking about black on the
I'm not
inside. We're
into
not talking
Mormons
about
like you.
black skin.
Like you are.
No, you sound like you're on the Mormon doctrine or Catholicism.
Whatever.
We know you Edomites love Catholicism. That's your bread and butter. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. What I called about was, how do you know you're a son of God, right? How do you become a son of God?
Nice. That's a cool question. No, as Jesus said, no man comes to the Father but by me. And isn't that a great question, man? I don't know that I could really tell you that. But
See, the guy that called Jesse earlier, this is what you would get for your children.
That's not true. That's not true. Jesse would have a different answer from what I just gave you, Jeremiah. What are you doing? What are you talking about?
He would just put on Hank, and he would let his kids listen to you all day. That's what he would consider school. He would homeschool his kids and put you
because
on
I'm
the TV
honest,
and let
unlike you.
teach his children. That's crazy, but you don't know. You know, you wouldn't know what to teach them.
What would you say? How do you become a son of God? How would you become a son of God, mocker?
You do what he say. You do what he tells you to do. What does he tell you?
You don't
to
do that. But you don't do that.
Oh my God, bro!
You don't do that.
How do you go on your inner self and listen to God?
You don't love your enemy. You don't do what God told you to do.
Oh my God, bro! For so long, I've hated my enemy.
I know.
Just now started to love. We just now started to love. We see where this world is now. It's starting to get better for us. I don't know about y'all.
No, it's not, man. You're blind if you think that.
For so-called black men,
right?
For so-called black men, we're not. Our eye isn't evil towards our brother anymore.
Oh yes, it is.
For a lot of us. For a lot of us, it's not. You still gonna have knuckleheads out there, but for a lot of us, it's not. You know.
Mormons. I have a super chat from Azzmador. Mormons.
What's it?
Mormons say blacks turn white on the inside if they convert to Mormonism because they claimed that blacks were animals without souls, and that fell out of fashion. Yeah. So you're just like the Mormons because you think that whites are animals without souls, and we will bow to the black Jesus. What a mess. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough evil from you, Jeremiah. I gotta go.
You really got to go? I haven't talked that long.
Yeah, you have. You've been on almost 11 minutes.
Okay, hold on. The Israelites will bow first, right? Because we are his children. But you guys
bow to white Jesus.
Got it. And I've already put my prayer in for you, boy.
Whoa. Can I call you boy too?
Yeah. I don't care.
All right.
You can do whatever you want to. You can call me the N-word. For all I care. I don't care.
Well, hey. Don't be cussing now. You're not Miss Parks. You're not as entertaining as Miss Parks.
I'm out of my job, so, man, this man's
manly language. Yeah, I understand. But there's children listening to my show. Thanks, man.
Sorry, kids.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Jeremiah.
Liar.
Take care. Adios. Thank you, Jeremiah And you guys, you too, can call in to the Hake Report. 888-775-3773. AJ Bug says, dumb laugh. Fake alphas laugh. Yeah. Very true. A few more super chats here, guys. John WX25 says, okay, Hake, are you doing 3 hours? You put on a good show. That's kind, John WX25. At this point, no 3-hour show, but I did last plus or minus 3 hours, 3 hours plus or minus, on the Crypto Report. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, is one dem signs and wonders, Hank. That's Azzmador mocking the signs and wonders, Black Hebrew Israelite. I get all manner of calls from all walks of life. Thank you, Jeremiah. Appreciate your call. You are evil, man. Azzmador says, they were burning books, they being the Nazis, I think, by people like Magnus Hirschfeld, a pioneer in transgender surgery in Berlin, Germany, and all manner of homosexuality promoting and anti-Christian books. He says that about the Nazis. Yeah, so they wanted a united country, I guess, and these things are divisive, and not only divisive, but evil and counterproductive to a strong society made of strong men and children and beautiful ladies, right? Beautiful, humble, gentle ladies. Thank you. That's what we want in America, right? Nice. Thank you guys for the super chats. So, by the way, you too can catch Hake on Azzmador's show from this past Saturday, April 9th, 2022 AD. You can watch the replay on Azzmador's Odysee channel. AZZMADOR is the channel name on Odysee, ODYSEE.com/@Azzmador. You can make sure to follow his channel. Follow him on Telegram, TKR Official on Telegram, the Crypto Report, for announcements, tips, memes. Not necessarily child-friendly because, I mean, children shouldn't really be on social media at that point, right? But there's some rough and real stuff over there. Also, Azzmador on Gab. I'm on Gab, too. James Anton Hake, I believe, is my current handle on Gab. I was in talks of changing it to the Hake Report. I'm not sure if I will or won't. But just so you know, just be warned, it is a possibility. Jesse Lee Peterson is also on Gab, as well as JLP Talk on Telegram. The Hake Report on Telegram is mine. So you can check out my blog posts for my appearances on Azzmador's, as well as Modern Day Debate and The Crucible and Hippy Dippy Roundtable and many other podcasts and YouTube shows and Twitch shows and other things. TheHakeReport.com/appearances. Thank you, guys. That was cool. So let me tell you about this thing going on. Blacks and SJWs. Feel like listening to a clip of some blacks and gays talking? Or one, anyway. Purported black. Is that Angela Yee woman from Breakfast Club? Is she a black? This is from Real Clear Politics. Pete Buttigieg. Is that unpleasant for me to talk like that? Pete Buttigieg. That's how you pronounce his name. Buttigieg. Surprised to hear that black voters, supposedly, think the Biden administration has kept no campaign promises. Really? And this is a video from Breakfast Club Power 105.1 FM. I think it's a New York station. And it's a morning show, I guess. On YouTube, clip 12, Department of So-Called Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg talks about the infrastructure bill and keeping promises, and Ketanji Jackson. Well, I don't have the clip that I mentioned. I don't think it is from Ketanji. But the timestamp is from about 26 minutes in, and it's just under 2 minutes long. Bear with me, guys. Here is the guy who calls himself Charlamagne Tha God. I've talked about him before. His real name is something else. But he confronts Biden's affirmative action transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, a so-called radical homosexual quote-unquote married to a male, and took a leave of absence for paternity because somehow they adopted a kid or something, a baby. They all talk about what's really important to the blacks, and just listen to the stuff that they think is important to the blacks. Like, they're in a crisis, like killing one another and robbing, and the jobs are all a mess because, the communist shutdowns. But what do they care about? Fake police accountability and quote-unquote voting rights. Listen to this mess.
A lot of black people feel like Democrats have kept no promises since they've been in office.
Really?
Yes. Reverend Allen said that a million times. I'm sure he'll be pressing you about
Al
that.
Sharpton.
Look, I get it, because the work is not done. But the reason I say really is we just passed one of the biggest pieces of infrastructure legislation in American history. It was a promise, and it wasn't just a promise that the Biden-Harris administration made or that us Democrats made in 2020. This is a promise that every president and every Congress has made in some way, shape, or form for as long as I've been an adult. And we actually did it.
But those are big, broad things, and that's great. But I'm talking about things you campaigned on, like the George Floyd Policing Act, and the fact that our voting rights, man, like 19 states have implemented voter suppression bills. You know that's going to directly impact us the most. And the only strategy Democrats are going to have is we got to go out there and vote in mass numbers to fight it. That's
right.
not a strategy.
No,
Hope is not a strategy.
Right, mobilization is a strategy, and these tactics that you're talking about make mobilization harder. And you're absolutely right. That work is not done. That work has to get done, and it's not acceptable where we are right now. I think all of that's true.
Yeah,
I get it.
And you know what really is scary is seeing a lot of women's reproductive rights.
Oh my God,
regressing, and LGBTQ community, their rights being taken away
Don't
state by state.
Yeah.
Right, voting rights being taken away state by state. Those things are scary, even in the education system.
Right.
Just not being able to discuss certain things state by state.
Right.
That's a scary thing to me,
Yeah.
and it's like we see it expanding.
No, that's right. And so again, part of the answer is organizing at the state level.
Shut up, huh? That woman who talked at the end, her name is Angela Yee, Y-E-E. A 46-year-old woman who's like a co-host over there. Is she even black? What is she? Is she black Hispanic? What kind of a last name is that? Angela Yee was born to a Chinese father and an Afro-Montserratian mother. Raised in Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York City. What a mess. How do we let these people in? What's Afro-Montserratian? British overseas territory in the Caribbean. And she's talking all black, and she's like half Chinese. What in the world? And she was all carried about women's reproductive rights. Such a misnomer. I was talking about this on the Crypto Report on Saturday night. I talked for 3 hours over there. Well, not talked straight for 3 hours, but we were on there for 3 hours. Women's reproductive rights. We talked about how really it's and I heard about this from a caller and supporter, Mark from San Diego. Reproductive rights. That's what men's rights to their children are taken away because the women are killing the men's babies without permission, without their knowledge, without their permission, in spite of their protests in some cases. I mentioned that Jesse Lee Peterson has counseled many guys over the decades who are like totally distraught that the women are killing their babies. What a mess, huh? Through this abortion, women's reproductive rights, meaning their right to kill the baby in the womb. That's not reproduction. That's stopping it. LGBTQ rights, education system. They want to push the LGBTQ gay agenda on the kids. Yeah, voting rights. Chris over here, kickflip Chris. You want to chime in on this? It's just so ridiculous because I might miss something. He said they literally mail ballots to people without them even having to ask.
Yeah, the claims that they make about voting rights is just on its face, it's absurd.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I just put it in the chat, like, they mail a ballot to you.
Right.
And then you can just mail it back. Or drop it off anywhere around town.
Yeah.
And if you just want to do it the traditional way, I don't know about every county and every state, but I remember the last 2 times we voted. When we went to vote for the governor, and when we went to go vote for Trump.
Oh yeah.
We could go anywhere.
Right. Any old precinct that we want. It used to be assigned.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
I think it was per your address, basically. Like, it was local.
Yep.
You had to, it was, they set something up near your house, more or less.
Right.
We voted both times, those last 2 times I just mentioned, just right down the street both times. And I don't live anywhere near around here, so.
Yeah, it's never been easier. Like you said, it's never been easier to vote.
Yeah, they're just
such a lie.
And
they buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. That conversation that they were just having was moot, basically. They were talking past each other.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't getting at anything. It was pretty funny.
It was. And he's talking about the George Floyd Policing Act. I'll never forget when I was watching Nick Fuentes, whose conference we went to.
Yeah.
And he was covering this George Floyd mess, the riots, when the riots first broke out. And he said, what the issue is? It's not police brutality. It's not police violating people's civil rights. It's not this or that. It's black crime. That's the major issue. That is the major issue especially that's facing the blacks.
Yeah.
And that's causing them all the bad run-ins with the cops. It's black crime. Or it's a black fallen state mindset. And that's so true. And this guy is saying, he's referencing the Reverend Al as if he respects Al Sharpton. What a phony. Leonard Larry McKelvey is the real name of this Charlamagne Tha God, THA. Yeah, it's totally fake. What a, makes me want to spit.
Yeah.
And they have this gay guy, a soft little gay guy.
Yeah.
On, like, he's some authority.
But that's a pretty, it's sad, but it is what it is. That's like a representation of America. You've got black people just squawking at the ear of this white guy, but he's just an effeminate homosexual. Yeah. But he's just trying to do everything that he can to make excuses, like, oh no, we're doing exactly what you're saying, and we're doing more. Right. We're doing this, we're doing that, and like he's just just tap dancing to all their demands.
Yeah, they're like, dance, Whitey.
Yeah, give us this. Give us this.
Shooting at his feet.
Well, we've passed the biggest thing in history. Right. That's not enough.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, it's that little scene there was a pretty good representation of America, basically.
And that woman piping up like she has anything to say.
Oh,
she just rattled off women's reproductive rights, which is fake. LGBTQ education system,
reproductive rights. You can kill. She's talking about abortion,
right?
You can kill a baby really easily in New York.
Yeah,
real easy.
Yeah, so easily that they're killing across multiple years for the past decade. They've killed more black babies than have been born. That's how easy it is to kill your baby. Women's reproductive rights.
Yeah,
the woman is God.
They don't. They're sort of like a dog chasing a car.
Yeah.
But they've already gotten all of their demands. But
I know.
It just goes to show, like, when you just keep giving in, there's more and more. There's no bottom to this kind of a thing.
Just insanity. That's wild. And they actually think that's why I say that blacks are so, like, they don't know what's good for them. Because if that's what they're told to care about this, and so you have callers like Tony saying they're making it, they're taking away blacks' voting rights. First of all, it's not a right to vote, and it's so not true. We're just trying to bring some voter integrity, and they lie about it. they've been lying about it, and so people are buying it.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it's typical, it's the typical like playbook of the media, but just the, basically the circle, it's like the circle of life of the, the media to the people.
Right.
They spin the lie, the people buy it, they get mad, they do whatever they want, and then, it goes back to the media. Okay, now what do we want from them? And, the cycle continues.
Yeah. Terrible lies.
Indeed.
I got a super chat. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Super chat from Expert Bibby 42 says, poor Jeremiah. He thinks that being a simp to the radical female blacks means that things are getting better for black men. Yeah. No, Jeremiah. Things are only getting worse for you people. What do you mean, you people, Expert Bibby 42? You gon' be licking boots, boy. Wake up, fool. So says Expert Bibby 42 in love. Nice. Your girlfriend with a super chat on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report says, that does your Tumblr say? You mean, what does my Tumblr say? What does my Tumblr say? jameshake.tumblr.com? Does it say? Is this? Yes, jameshake.tumblr.com. Did you know that I have a Tumblr account? Hake returns to the crypto report with Azzmador, Tony Castle, and Hate Farmer. Yeah, I do share it sometimes. Are you talking about my Tumblr account? TUMBLR? I'm not very active on it, but thank you for calling attention to it. I'm not sure what you're asking your girlfriend. And I think it says what, but she typed that. That does your Tumblr say. I'm not sure. But you can check it out. The Hake Report. I mean, it just posts different updates, and when I make an appearance, I post on it. And you can follow James Hake on Tumblr. Interesting. Man, it's kind of hot in here. Can we get the AC? Air conditioning. Thank you. I appreciate it. In advance. In faith, I thank you. Thanks for the super chats, guys. Oh, I saw the lights blink. That means the AC kicked on. So, okay, let me tell you guys about this Ketanji hype. In the vein of this mess that you just heard from my competitor, The Breakfast Club. This is an article from Politico. Politico is a far-left enemy of America outlet. And, your girlfriend says, I was asking about your drink tumbler. Oh, I didn't know that this was a tumbler. I forgot to put this back on my, let me just fix this. I've got to put this back on the floor down here. It says Sports Authority, and it's a water bottle, and I guess it's a tumbler. I don't know what a tumbler is. She actually spelled it right, too. It's a red water bottle thing, I think, and it's made out of, like, what is this? Stainless steel or aluminum or something? And it reads Sports Authority, and it has a black cap on it. I like it. I've had it for years. I had it filled with water for like years. I finally opened it up one day and drank the water, which I don't know if that's ill-advised. And I've been using it almost every day here at the Bond office and JLP studio. I am on Jesse Lee Peterson's network practically every day, well, Sunday through Friday, ever since. And when I'm on other debates, I will sometimes open it up and take a sip. And I will usually, like, mute the mic so it doesn't make all this noise, hopefully. But yeah, anyway, thanks for the question. Oh, what a mess. That may have been unnecessary. But thank you, your girlfriend. Shout out for the support. And by the way, speaking of your girlfriend and other supporters, I do have a Subscribe Star account. Subscribestar.com/The Hake Report. And sports authorities still exist? I don't think so. Ours turned into dicks. Yeah, I thought that it was chicks also turned into, never mind. But chicks did turn into that. But it doesn't sound right saying it. But yes, Lisa, shout out to the Facebook crew. Yeah, subscribestar.com/The Hake Report. I've been putting up exclusive content on there. I go out into the neighborhood, take a little walk out here, outside the office here, either down that way or up that way or over there. And I talk to the Subscribe Star supporters and the Super Chat supporters. Very nice. Yeah, that AC does feel good, but it is still kind of warm. And I do not drive a Prius hybrid, nor does it have a coexist bumper sticker on it. A crypto conservative. Anyway, back to this Ketanji hype in the last several minutes of the Hake Report's first hour of today. Politico, what Justice Ketanji Onyeka Brown Jackson means for the country. And it's a Politico affirmative action article written by this guy named Braxton, with 2 Ks, Braxton Booker. Legal scholars believe she can have a significant impact, even in the minority. And what I found notable about this article is that every single one, and I wish that I had taken the time, though I did not have it, to look up the individuals referenced or quoted in this article, or is consulted in this for this article by this black Politico writer. But every single academic and expert quoted in this article are women, or is a woman, female, really. I don't know if you would call them a woman. And this black male writer points out, too, that every single liberal, official liberal, right, on the Supreme Court, not talking about rhino liberals, because rhino liberals do exist on the Supreme Court. They were appointed by Trump. I'm sorry to say. I love Trump, but his Supreme Court justices are not the best, let's say. He loves Clarence Thomas the best, I think. Yeah, I think it's a fact. But this guy says every liberal on the court is a woman. And an anti-white POC woman, by the way. Oh, one of them might be considered white, a white Jewish woman. That's not a normal white, though. It's Elena Kagan. And Sonia Sotomayor, those are 2 Obama appointees. And now this Ketanji, the 3rd Obama appointee, because we know that Biden's not running the show. It's Obama holdovers running the show. Makes me want to spit. So they speculate that this woman's dissent, because she is in the so-called minority. She's not really in the minority. We don't have a conservative majority. We have like 1 or 2 conservatives on the Supreme Court. That's Clarence Thomas and I think Samuel Alito could reasonably be considered conservative. The rest, in my opinion, kind of rhinos, intellectuals, young people who can be pushed around. Gorsuch, pushed around. Kavanaugh, I like beer, pushed around. Amy Barrett, calls herself Coney, is her maiden name. Amy Coney Barrett, dumb liberal crying for her adopted black children after Georgia Florida got himself overdosed and kneeled on his neck at his own request. Pathetic. Those aren't conservatives. It's not it's not 6-3 conservative majority. Be quiet. I almost said the shut up word, but I don't want to be a bad example in front of the kids. You're welcome, parents, except that I just said it. This woman, her dissents, because she's going to dissent against the majority opinion, right? They write a dissent, will be influential and instructive, they say, for dumb legislators in the way that the notorious RBG, is that what her name was? Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Also not a Christian. Now she's dead. Dead. That's Joe Biden. She wrote dissents, and Okay, so let me tell you about what. Okay, no, let me read a little bit of the article, and I'll tell you about one of the dissents from back in the day, and the world changed for the worse afterwards as a result of these women, liberal women, on the highest court in the land. Okay, so dissents are extremely important, says Fatima Goss-Graves, president and CEO of National Women's Law Center. This is the first expert quoted by this black male. How embarrassing. Fatima Goss-Graves. Probably not a Christian. Obviously not. President and CEO of National Women's Law Center. Dissents are extremely important because they're a reminder to the public that the court that there's an alternative approach. They are sometimes guiding posts for future decision making. And so they say Jackson's background is the first black woman. They capitalize the letter B in the word black because they're kissing up to the blacks, even though this guy is black, kissing up to himself, his false identity as black. And as a former public defender, she'll bring a new perspective. University of Georgia law professor, another woman, Melissa Redmond, R-E-D-M-O-N, says they're bringing the lens of a defense attorney. Bringing the lens of a defense attorney to deliberations can help reframe how other justices view things like legal disputes over unlawful searches and seizures, basically criminals' rights, right? Or alleged criminals' rights, because in many cases they come after decent people with these things. Typically in criminal cases, this Redmond one says, another woman, Melissa Redmond, in criminal cases you're talking about 4th, 5th, 6th Amendment rights and 14th Amendment rights. You have someone who's intimately familiar with that. This Graves woman, the first woman, points to the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who told the New Republic in 2014, "My dissenting opinions, like my briefs, are intended to persuade, and sometimes one must be forceful about saying how wrong the court's decision is." When Ginsburg dissented in Ledbetter versus Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in 2007, in which Lily Ledbetter accused her employer Goodyear of paying her a lower salary because of her gender, Ginsburg wrote in minority opinion that it was up to lawmakers to change the injustice of gender pay discrimination. It's not injustice. Get out of here. By 2009, Congress passed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, and it was the first bill that the evil and worst black president Barack Obama signed into law. Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. It was a fake idea that women are paid less, and it's so unjust. Another woman, Verna L. Williams, dean of the law school at the University of Cincinnati, says Supreme Court dissents can also give litigants clues for how to argue a similar case down the line. Sometimes in the dissent, you might pick up a nugget, said Williams, who served as lead counsel and successfully argued Davis versus Monroe County Board of Education in 1999, which established that school boards can be held liable for failing to intervene in student-on-student sexual harassment in some cases. What a mess, huh? Jackson will be joining Justices Elena Kagan, Sonia Sotomayor on the liberal side of the court, both of whom notable for their dissents. I'm shaking my head. It's disgusting. There's a danger that their voices will be further marginalized because they're the lady liberals in the minority. She's using the term very loosely, lady, said this woman, this Williams woman, Verna L. Williams, in a corrupt woman in the corrupting education field in University of Cincinnati, Ohio. So anyway, this guy spoke to these experts and says, oh, by the way, Justice Clarence Thomas has become an icon for many Republicans for his views on race. And this Graves woman says, when Jackson joins him, it means there will be more than one perspective around blackness on the court. Like the whites can't have and the Hispanics and Jewish people can't have a perspective on blackness on the court. Give me a break. So dumb. Doesn't even belong on the Supreme Court. Talking about that mess. 4 women, a Jew, a Mexican, a black, and a liberal Catholic woman who adopted black kids from Haiti or something like that. What could go wrong? Yeah, on the Supreme Court. What a joke. What a joke. As you know, Biden said it's long overdue having a black woman on the Supreme Court. So ridiculous. At the end of the day, it's going to be comforting to know that there is a Justice Jackson on the Supreme Court, but black communities aren't stupid, says, here's another fake expert, another woman that this guy quotes, Alicia Garza, or maybe it's Alicia Garza, quote-unquote co-founder of Black Lives Matter. This is one of the women who refused to come on the JLP show, but her other co-founder, Patrice Khan Colors, did come on the show, and then she hung up and ran with her tail between her legs because she couldn't answer or refused to answer, do you believe in capitalism or not? This Alicia Garza woman says, black communities aren't stupid. I beg to differ. It's not something that black voters are going to feel in their pockets or see directly in their communities. That is really what's going to turn people out to the polls, who now, this Garza woman, black Hispanic apparently, Garza is a Hispanic last name, right? Now leads Black to the Future Action Fund to make black communities more powerful in politics. Dumb stuff. Talking about voting rights, police reform, federal voting rights protections. Dumb. There you have it again. Them focusing on the wrong things. I felt like Hillary Clinton just now when I did that. What I did for the podcast listeners, I held out my arm and pointed out my arm a little bit. For some reason, that looks like a Hillary Clinton move in my mind. Why aren't I 50 points ahead? Okay, they voted. To his credit, this black affirmative action political writer quoted one male, a black male, Paris Denard, who's a black spokesman for the Republican National Committee, saying, I think for Republican voters, they're going to look at this, what's her name? Onyeka Jackson? I'm blanking. Ketanji Onyeka? They're going to look at this, the voters, Republican voters, and be reminded of the fact that elections have consequences. Whatever, Paris. You're nice. So anyway, we are over time, guys. I do want to get to calls. Bobby in Texas is coming up next. You know what? Let's start with this music, even as I talk. Go ahead and start it right now, and I'll tell you what it is. This is 6 Organs of Admittance, still, from the album Shelter from the Ash. I've been playing it all last week. From the 2007 Drag City Records. Isn't it nice? Nugget Man, I think, offered me $100 not to play satanic music this week, but I saw it too late, man. This is satanic music, I'm sorry to say, kids, adults, but there is no words to it, so it's not explicit. But cover your ears, the title of this track is called Goddess Atonement. Isn't that devilish? They want to make women into gods. They call them goddesses. Goddess Atonement. Cool guitar playing though, right? I'm going to step away at 3 minutes in because that's when it gets kind of interesting without me talking over it. I mean, I guess this is interesting. But it's just so calm you might go to sleep, and I don't want you to sleep during the Hake Report. Although I know that my voice is soothing. Isn't it cool? Reminds me of Imaginational Anthem. Anybody heard Imaginational Anthem, those compilations of talented guitarists? Isn't that cool? Luca may be able to play guitar like this. I saw a note, by the way, on the liner notes of this track that made me think that it was dedicated to a couple of perhaps not morally straight people. I won't go any further than that. Den T-Gen says, suing Hake for ear hole damage for tongue clicks. Maybe I should, when I go, I should stay away from the mic because that does pop kind of loud. Sorry. Thank you for the heads up, Den T-Gen. The damage is done. Snake music. Yeah. Terrible things going on in the world. Comet Pizza is still in business, I think. Ragnar 0321. I almost said the shut up word. Justice Scalia, says AJ Bug. It was a hit in my view. Guys, I'll be back in a couple of minutes here. This is where it gets interesting in my view, or catchy. So, enjoy your musical Philistines, and I'll be back for hour 2. Well, wasn't that nice, guys? No? Is this music Christian or not exactly Christian? In fact, Azzmador states it's 3 notes. AJ Bug. I like the cool music. This is all right, Hake. Thank you, Uncle Ted 88. Looks a little satanic? Yeah, probably because it might be. This is like that song that is stuck in the middle of the break, says Fred. Haker, this is a Satan album cover. Trippy artwork. Yeah. I'm going to call in and I want you to play this in the background, James, says Chip Jab. I'm feeling my chakras, says Tim, the real Tim Scott, not the rhino. No, I noticed that those black rappers are all into that now. They say, keep your chakras open, which is like India type something, right? This is Tool without the edge and ego, says Tim Scott. Well, thank you guys for bearing with me, you musical Philistines. Fun times. Let me get to a call or two, guys. You can call in 888-775-3773. 3. Bobby in Texas is on the line. How are you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing well, James. How are you doing, man?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was thinking while I was listening to the show there, when this Jumanji Onika Jackson came into...
You sound so racist. What's that?
And they asked her, to define what is a woman.
Yeah.
I wonder why they didn't come back and ask her if she was a woman.
Right.
And when she answered that question, they could just come back and say something like, well, how do you know? You're not a biologist. How could you know you're a woman?
Interesting. That would have been interesting.
And then she's, once she can't say that she's, she won't answer, maybe she says, I don't know, or whatever. Then she's disqualified from Biden's, criteria if you're not a black woman.
Yeah.
Like you're not there for the role. But I don't know. I just had that thought. I was like, I wonder why they didn't press the issue. Just gave her the one easy layup that she couldn't handle.
Yeah. That was a woman Republican who asked her that question. Am I right? I think it was.
Yeah. I'm not sure which one. Maybe Boebert. I'm not sure.
It wasn't Boebert.
Not sure.
I know it wasn't Boebert,
know.
but it was one of them. Yeah. What a mess. What a joke we have become. It's no wonder Russia's doing whatever they want. Marsha Blackburn, maybe, of Tennessee. I think it was. I think you're right. Chris.
We had 3 justices that are really know better. It's like, we can't do a better job than that when we're placing them on there, and they can put radicals on there.
That is such a good point. They are putting radicals. These are radical people. Sotomayor, Kagan, I assume, right? She's definitely not a Christian. Like, by her nature, she's, like, subversive, I think. And this woman, these are radicals. And we're putting, like, the softest, weakest, kiss-uppy rhinos and women and female-minded males on the court, and it's a battle just to get them on. Oh, my gosh. Great point.
And they do nothing. Like, they literally do nothing to help any conservative cause, anything. They're just like, they'd rather avoid any, sensitive issue. They'd rather not even put it on the docket. Let's not talk about that kind of stuff. Let's not get abortion in there. We don't want to deal with something like that.
If we were truly still like a Christian man-led nation, white nation, I think that we would be sitting here being like, oh man, that Clarence Thomas, as based as he is, oh, that Clarence Thomas is a little too wishy-washy for my taste. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be a dream? Because Clarence Thomas, I don't know if Clarence Thomas is wishy-washy on anything. I mean, he might be, because I don't really pay attention to the Supreme Court. Because it's just good
probably, and I don't like that guy, Kavanaugh. I didn't care for him even before his nomination.
Yeah.
I thought he was a pretty terrible judge in the first place. But like after the abortion stuff and the attack that he got, I was on his side. I was like, well, I mean, even though he's a terrible, his record, I don't like him, but I definitely don't like the left. So I'm like, they're going to attack him. Maybe, he'll do something positive once he gets there, like once he's in there.
Yeah.
And it's just been a week. Who can be the weakest? Like, who can be the weakest judge on the Supreme Court? Oh, it's me. I'll do it. I'm going to be the weakest. So it's like, it's a fight for that.
That's so true.
But what I called for was the Gretchen Whitmer situation. So I don't know if you've covered this already on Hake Report.
I have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Tell it. Tell us what's going on. And I heard a little bit, but go ahead.
So the guys that were charged. Now I'm not 100% on all the facts of it, but they had the 2 guys went on trial.
Let me tell the people a little bit of the background let me interrupt you briefly to tell the people.
Sure.
So
definitely.
This is this case up in Michigan where they have that woman who looks kind of like Bruce Jenner because she's apparently, I guess, has had like work done on her face, Gretchen Whitmer. And she's the so-called governor of Michigan. And during the shutdowns, the communist shutdowns, I think it was, these white guys, I guess, were arrested by the FBI who foiled a plot to kidnap the governor. But it turned out that like there may have been feds involved. In fact, I don't think it was may have been. There were indeed feds, federal informant or federal agents involved in the so-called plotting of this plot to kidnap the governor and hold her ransom or something like that. And so they've been kind of in trial, and these guys are dumb and goofy. And okay, go, Bobby. Explain the rest where we left off.
Okay, so there were 14 arrested, and the way I understand it, 14 people were arrested, 12 of whom were FBI agents.
Are you serious?
So, yeah,
actual agents, not just informants, but agents.
Right. Well, could have been informants. I don't know if they were actual agents, but FBI. They were associated with the FBI in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
So only 2 made it to trial and were acquitted on all charges.
Wow.
Like, I guess due to the fact that 12 of the 14 people were part of the FBI. And what is it? Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg went on and was talking, I guess, back in 2020, maybe 2021, early 21, about how they had worked in coordination with the FBI to do all this. I mean, they don't want to do anything to stop people, people who are sexually assaulting children and using their site for that, but for something that's a big made up hoax of the justice system. So we'll work totally hard with the FBI for that.
Didn't I, correct me if I'm wrong, you may remember or you may not, did I not hear from that goofy caller, Tony or Toby from California? Good morning, Hank. How the heck are you? And he's like, why are these white men trying to kidnap the governor? Can't you picture him saying that? Or did he not call in? Talking about this fake kidnapping thing. Oh my gosh, these people.
So they pushed this narrative all over the place about, and she came on and was like, yeah, the FBI stopped these people that were going to kidnap and murder me. And it's like, oh, give me a break.
I know.
And it's all completely pushed by the FBI. Same as what I would assume happened. Because didn't someone get acquitted in the January 6th also this past week? Wasn't somebody
possibly so
that the cops waved him in, he was able to substantially prove that he was waved in by the police and was cleared on his charges as well?
Politico reports judge issues the first outright acquittal of a January 6th riot defendant. He claimed he thought police allowed him into an entrance near the Capitol Rotunda. And following a 2-day bench trial, New Mexico engineer Matthew Martin was acquitted Wednesday last week, I guess, on 4 misdemeanor charges by District Judge Trevor McFadden. Isn't that a nice Christian name? Trevor McFadden. I don't know anything about him. Matthew Martin claimed he thought the police had allowed him into an entrance near the Capitol Rotunda on J6th. Based on video of the scene, the assertion was at least plausible. Prosecutors failed to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. Nice, you're so right. It's hard to keep up with all this stuff, man.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the tide might be starting to somewhat turn, but I'm guessing that fella probably spent over a year in jail in solitary confinement, probably in horrible conditions.
I don't know. I don't know about him specifically, but there have.
Yeah, I don't either.
There
but
have
I'm
been
assuming
people.
Since he just went to court and they weren't allowing people out they weren't allowing bail for these people. I would only imagine he's been there the whole time.
I don't know.
Like I said,
four misdemeanor charges, though. Ridiculous.
I mean, are any of the people in there on? I guess
some might be.
They're charging with felons, but they're giving them parading and things like that.
Yeah, there were some assaults that did take place, and I don't know if destruction of property is a felony. I feel like it should be.
Guy that got years for Ratliff, is that what his name?
Oh yeah, Ratcliffe or something.
And
zip
ties or whatever. Yeah. I was arguing with someone the other day about the whole. He was like, I'm not going to condone it was a good idea or a good move, but to call it an insurrection, I think is pretty.
I know.
A pretty big stretch. It's
it's an outright lie.
And he believes all this stuff that he hears on the news, and he's like, oh, they were shooting the people. I was like, one person got shot, a female.
Right.
The only people that died were Trump supporters, that were trampled. I think one had a heart attack. Like, I was like, one person was shot. He's like, they were shooting at him. They were doing all, like, he has this just completely misguided idea of what happened that day. And I'm just like,
low information, huh?
Head. Yeah. It's like, where do you get this? But he's like a total simp. Like, he like got a divorce and like just totally went like the simpest simp ever to get his wife back. He's like, oh, so like went to like this Christian idea of like God told him that he needed to get his wife and do this. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. Wow. That's fine.
Well, I wish him well.
Have your ideas.
You know, AJ Bug asks, what happens to the FBI officials or whoever those people were, those FBI affiliated people who entrapped these citizens? Good question. Yeah, you get it's a felony to quote unquote lie to the FBI, and they lie to us and to you all the time. And they lie in order to get you to quote unquote lie, and your lie is not even a real lie, but they call it a lie. These people are evil. There's no other, I mean, there are many other words for it, I guess, but it's sick. So
and
wrong.
I guess on the bright side, there's 30-something Democrats in this midterm election that won't be seeking re-election. So, I think a lot of them are realizing that the writing is on the wall for this whole situation. Like, people are not pleased with their actions. Biden's got the lowest approval rating in the history of presidents, I believe, at this point, even lower than what they claim Trump had.
Huh. Yeah. I know. And that's with the media basically in the tank for him, whereas the media was endlessly, just ridiculously biased anti-Trump. So that's an interesting point.
Negative, made up article about Trump, but when it's Biden, they'll hide anything that's negative. You won't hear about Hunter Biden situations. Like, they won't talk about that unless it's like, something major, and then they'll just, one little quick bit and be over with it. Move on to, Biden's going to go to Ukraine and talk to Zelensky or some nonsense.
Yeah. Interesting times, man.
But can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
It's a biblical question. Like, I'm curious about like the Holy Trinity. So, like, I'm of the mind that Jesus and God are separate. And I get a lot of kickback from people. And I've tried to look under like Jesse's former stuff, and I was only able to find one, and it really didn't give me a lot of information. But like in the Bible, it says like the only way is through to heaven. The kingdom of heaven is through Jesus. I am God on earth, or whatever. I'm Jesus in the flesh, or God in the flesh. So how do you read it? Do you read it as they are separate people, or they're the same?
Jesus is the Son of God. They're separate people. They're one in that they are united, and he is like one with his Father because he acts only as his Father wants him to do, and he only speaks from what his Father tells him. And so, in that sense, they're one, but they're not the same person, or they're not this. I think it's suspect that they came up with this Trinity idea. Like, they kind of intellectualized it. And when you intellectualize something and explain it in this intellectual way, I think you can go awry with it. Jesus is not God. He's the Son of God. It's God with us through him.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was saying. I was like, well, why did he say he was going to join his Father's right hand?
Right.
Like, why didn't he just say I was going to go, back to heaven? I'm going to go back to my throne. Like, why does he specify not being the same person in, 2 or 3 different sections throughout the Bible? And I'm like not somebody that really is a Bible thumper. I couldn't like, let's see, Ecclesiastes 16:4. I don't know all that nonsense, but I know what I've read. I just don't, fashion myself to memorize biblical passages like some people do.
Yeah, I was raised memorizing Bible verses. My mother had us memorizing, practical type of Bible verses, like the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Therefore, you shall not want that toy. Because anyway,
it was used as a means to.
Well, I don't know if she said that, but that's how I took it. Like, I liked that verse because it gave me peace when I was distraught at not getting that toy or whatever.
Yeah, they had us memorize like one when we were baptized. You had to memorize a specific,
Yeah.
Bible verse and like that. And once you could recite it, then you were eligible, I guess, you were mature enough to be baptized. So,
Right.
I mean, I remember that one still, but
yeah,
I don't know.
When I was raised by my parents, I don't know what my parents believed, but they didn't harp on, oh, Jesus is God. I did hear the Trinity, and I kind of generally just accepted it. But when I was brought up in the churches that I went to, they didn't say, oh, Jesus is God. It was only later that I heard other people saying it. And then I guess maybe some people in my family accept that, and I guess it's become, maybe for a long time it has been the norm to think that, oh, he is God.
Yeah, you should have seen
Mary, the mother of God type of stuff.
When I told him I didn't believe they were the same person, I mean, he came unglued.
Huh.
He was like not having it. And I was like, dude, you can believe whatever you want, man. I'm not going to sit here and try and convert you to believe what I'm saying. I just don't believe that that's the case. Like, if it was, like, I think it would be a lot more clear.
Yeah, I agree. It would be more clear if it were the case. In the Bible that they cite, I mean, they say, oh, you can't get any more clear than Jesus said, I am. That's what God said about himself. But, I remember hearing it in the Christian music that I was listening to. One rapper said, oh, I believe Jesus is God and God is Jesus, and I can prove this as fact to anyone who chooses not to believe this thesis. I remember that line for some reason. And so I'm like, I look into it because I was all torn and having like a crisis of faith, I guess, because I was getting into the intellect in college and reading the Bible and stuff. And so I was looking around at it, and I was looking for it. And I did find one line that said, Christ who is God forever praised. But that's in the NIV, and that's not, it doesn't read that in other translations. It says, Christ, God be forever praised. And so it's talking about, it's not saying who is God forever praised, So like there's all these verses that people take to mean something that they don't necessarily mean. But they hold on to it. And it's interesting that they overreact when you say something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, the fact that you're so, like, your eyes get red when I disagree with something that you hold valuable. Like,
some people say that they believe that. Some people say they believe that so that you can continue to sin because Jesus only couldn't sin because he was God, whereas we will never stop sinning. So they have a messed up idea of what sin actually is, and so they have all these wrong ideas piled on, and it holds them in bondage, and they're not actually free like they think they are. So, yeah, interesting, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks. I studied it all weekend, like trying to kind of look into it and see like where he was getting his point of view. Yeah, and I was like, I looked for like I know Jesse had talked about it, but I really couldn't find a whole lot like that he had said about it. So I was kind of like, wanted some clarity. I wanted to call him this morning, but I was slammed at work, so I just now got a little break.
God was in Jesus, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it was his son, so it's like, but I think like if he would have been more that, more specific than just the one, really, only one instance I see where he said, I am, like that's the only one that really, but that can be construed more than one way as well, I think. Like, I think that's got more than one.
Yeah, I think it's best for us who don't know to leave it as a mystery and leave it as an I don't know. And let God reveal it. Rather than try to figure it out or force each other to believe the way that we believe, Yeah,
I mean, I believe in Jesus. Like, I don't think he was, didn't happen. I don't think he was not real, and I believe he was the Son of God, so I don't know what more you want from me.
Right.
I don't believe that they're the same person. You're going to hell. I was like, okay. Yeah. That's fine, I guess. I guess I'll take my chances with
they act like you're denying Christ if you say that he's not God, but you believe that he's the Christ and you believe everything that he said about himself. It's a mess. But that's the world. Really. That's the world, and that's the state of the church. It has always been divided and backbiting and falsely accusing and a mess. Even in the New Testament, they wrote about that stuff. So
I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Get to your other callers.
All right. Take care, Bobby. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, man.
Bye. What an interesting life, huh? You can call in 888-775-3773. Some more super chats for you guys, at least one more. Joe Biden himself over there on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Is this truly from Joe Biden? Catching the Hake Report? Maybe it'll do you some good. He says, I love Mayo Pete. Gross. I hate mayo. Am I allowed to hate mayonnaise? Disgusting. I love Mayo Pete. When he attends cabinet meetings, we either stuff him in a locker or flush his head in the toilet. Give him a swirly. That's what Joe Biden says. Wow. Joe Biden, the bully. Sleepy Joe. So wrong. Very wrong. Very evil. Joe Biden. I was talking with Azzmador and Tony Castle, and I think Tony Castle was still there. He had to leave a little bit before we ended. And Hate Farmer over there on the Crypto Report. Check it out on Odysee.com/@Azzmador. Azzmador. About Joe Biden. He's been in some sort of political office for like over 40 years. And this is like on the older side of being a boomer, maybe even a little bit older than a boomer. Could be wrong. And he's just gone right along with the degenerating false values, fake values of a so-called America. He was pro, quote-unquote, same-sex marriage, which doesn't exist, before Obama came out as being for same-sex marriage. Everybody knew that he was for it, the people who were paying attention. Jesse Lee knew it before. A fake journalist woman tried to fact-check Jesse Lee before he was elected, before Obama was, quote-unquote, elected the first time, saying, oh, he says he's not for same-sex marriage. But, yes, he was for it. JLP knew it. I think Sean Hannity was on it with the Obama thing. Back in the day, he knew what was going on with Obama. Sean Hannity, whatever you think of him now or whatever is going on now, he was all over that. And JLP knew it, and the people who were telling the truth knew it. But the blacks acted all shocked when Obama said, oh, I have evolved to support same-sex marriage. He was for it all the time. What a liar. But Joe Biden he's been in office. He pretended to be tough on crime when it was politically palatable. Total coward and a simp and a kiss-up and everything else evil. If you don't mind my name calling a little bit, kids and parents, adults. So wrong. And so he appoints Mayor Pete Buttigieg to be the transportation secretary. Ridiculous. I'm just shaking my head. Before I get back to calls, guys, you can call in. Have Justin in Fullerton coming up next. I want to talk about Elon Musk and Twitter. But first, let me tell you about, speaking of insanity, this transgender madness. I talked about this in the Hake Report, in Hake News, on the Jesse Lee Peterson show today. At the end of hour 2, the far-left female-run outlet The Skim reported last week, Alabama's female governor, Kay Ivey, a Republican, and I have a clip of hers that I'll share with you shortly here. She signed 2 bills targeting transgender kids in the state. No such thing as transgender kids. They're kids who have been brainwashed into this evil thing, right? The 3rd state to do so, by the way. Alabama's the 3rd state to target transgender kids in the state. The first, though, to criminalize it, whatever it is. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's criminalized. In Alabama, it will be considered a crime for doctors who take the Hippocratic oath to do no harm, right? Something like that. To provide gender-affirming care for patients under 19. Doctors could face up to 10 years in jail. Only 10 years was what somebody in the chat said. For prescribing puberty blockers or hormonal treatments. Isn't that rich? They call it a treatment. Hormonal treatments. Messing up your body, right? The second law bans trans kids from using bathrooms that align with their gender misidentity. They call it gender identity. It's a false identity. Also, last-minute amendment to these bills blocked educators, quote unquote, from talking to kids in grades K through 5, kids as in children, grades K through 5, 5th grade, through kindergarten through 5th grade, 5 to what, 11, age 11 or, I think 10 or 11. 4 and 5, possibly. About gender, talking to kids about gender or sexual disorientation. That's where I got cut off on Hake News on Jesse's show because I was halting. Hake's fault, by the way. So last month, as you may know, Florida signed a similar bill about kindergarten through 3rd grade. You can't talk to the kids, 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and younger. You can't talk to them about your fake gay agenda, fake and gay agenda, and transgender agenda. I guess that's redundant, right? Because I already said fake. The Florida did. Now the evil and disgusting and un-American ACLU, Un-American Civil Liberties Union. Jesse Lee called them un-American, and it's a good word for them. They are un-American. They should not even be in America. They should be like deported or jailed or something, because they're subverters. Are they for anything good? Occasionally they'll pretend to be like, oh, we want the pro-life women to have their speech. Or we want the Unite the Right guys over in Charlottesville to fall into the trap. So we want them to have their little protest against, the tearing down of Confederate beautiful American monuments. But they're not for what's right, ACLU. More like ACL2. Because I spit when I think of the ACLU. But I didn't actually spit because this is not my studio. So the ACLU plans to challenge these laws that are protecting the children from the gay agenda and the trans agenda. They're calling these laws harmful. Be quiet. You're harmful, ACL2. Am I the only one amused by myself? Shaking my head. The skim says, but there is some hope. Oh, because today, all right, guys, don't be distraught at this, but it's dumb. There is some hope, say the far-left females at the skim. Starting today, Americans can now pick X instead of M or F. M, F, don't get it twisted. It's not cussing. M for male, F for female. Now they want X for their gender on passports, and they got it. Who gave that to them? Is that the State Department? Is it the State Department that did that? No medical documents needed, by the way, to make your change for your gender to X. The move is considered a win for trans rights. No such thing. On your passports. Oh, you're trying to get into our bedroom and our bathrooms. No. You're trying to force your degeneracy and insanity on the rest of the world and make us feel guilty for calling you man. What a mess. So, before I get to calls, speaking of Kay Ivey, I have a clip of hers. Based Alabama female Republican Governor Kay Ivey? This is a headline. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey. I don't want to mock her too much because she's nice. She's like a tough grandma. But she shouldn't be governor, in my opinion. She says, quote, the fake news, big tech, and blue state liberals stole the election. And guys, one of you guys in my YouTube comments, I did see it, commented, James, please do not bleep clips unless absolutely necessary. Because I bleeped the word pleasure in a clip like last week or 2 weeks ago from Jada Smith talking about her grandma teaching her about something really disgusting that apparently she, at age 9, according to her, that her pleasure comes from herself and not some man. Men are unnecessary. And so I bleeped the word pleasure because it just sounds so disgusting, and this is a family-friendly children's show. Even though pleasure is not a cuss word, right? Well, I bleeped this not because it's vulgar, but because I want to protect my channel from being torn down, because I have to disavow this woman's statement that I don't necessarily know whether I agree or disagree, right? What a mess. So here's Kay Ivey for governor on her unlisted YouTube video, 30 seconds long. She's running for re-election. But think about that. This woman is governor of Alabama, which is one of the best states in the country, one of the best states in the South, right? But here she is. I've never heard her talk before, and so she talks like a Southerner. Enjoy. Kay Ivey, ladies and gentlemen, and kids.
The fake news, big tech, and blue state liberals stole the election from President Trump. But here in Alabama, we're making sure that never happens. We have not and will not send absentee ballots to everyone and their brother. We banned corrupt curbside voting, and our results will always be audited. I'm Kay Ivey. The left is probably offended. So be it. As long as I'm governor, we're going to protect your vote.
Isn't that charming? But come on, we need men to be governor, right? Come on, South. The whites are turning like the blacks. They're turning to like grandma to run the show because the blacks are appointing black women. And you know, the SJW is called the black woman god. Mark Ruffalo, a Hollywood guy who, according to Bibi, likes young bleeps to bleep. Never mind. Come on. Let me play that one more time. Here's Kay Ivey once again.
The fake news, big tech, and blue state liberals stole the election from President Trump. But here in Alabama, we're making sure that never happens. We have not and will not send absentee ballots to everyone and their brother. We banned corrupt curbside voting, and our results will always be audited. I'm Kay Ivey. The left is probably offended. So be it. As long as I'm governor, we're going to protect your vote.
She's cute. She's cute. And I appreciate the effort. Thank you, Kay Ivey. Hat tip to you. But come on, voters and men. Oh, is she not a Christian? I don't know. You go, girl. She's spunky. Oh, man. I mean, I like her deep voice. And she's probably kind of tough. You know, there was Jan Brewer, the governor of Arizona, and she was pushing the SB 1070, and she stuck her finger, and even though she's shorter than Barack Obama, she famously stuck her. Can you search Jan Brewer Obama finger point, just to show it to you guys? She stuck her finger in the face of Barack Obama, and we're like, yeah, stick it to the man. He's not really a man. He's no man. Come on. We need... Hake likes that soothing, deep voice. Beta. She just reminds me of like a tough grandma. But, you know, we've had female governors all tough before, kind of tough. For a woman. There was the cringy Lauren Boebert of one of the Dakotas, right? Is Lauren Boebert? No, not Lauren Boebert. There's a female governor who's like all skinny and pretty and small. And she's the governor of one of the Dakotas. She spoke at that thing where Trump started to announce that he's going to build more monuments, like 4th of July, right, in front of Mount Rushmore. Which state is Mount Rushmore? Yeah, Kristi Noem. The Q-tards. Sorry, Q people. Well, I don't know, sorry. The Q people are like, oh, Kristi Noem and Trump 2024 or 20... I don't know. I forget what it was. Look, there's Jan Brewer. Oh, she's not that much shorter than Obama. She stuck her finger in the face of... And I don't know if she was really being as defiant as it looks. And, you know, the Christians liked her over there in Arizona. She wasn't too much of a rhino, I don't think. But nice. There's a picture from way back when Obama still had black hair. Met him out on the tarmac out after Air Force One landed. What a disgrace. We had that black liberal, not for moral straightness president. What a shame. AJ Bug says, where's the ACLU for vaccine mandates? Trash. Sold out. AJ Bug says, she went vaccine crazy. Are you talking about Kay Ivey? Kind of commie. Yeah, woman. But anyway, that's nice. We do want election integrity. Obama being put in his place. Anyway, guys, thank you for bearing with me through that. That's your, had you heard Alabama's Kay Ivey before? I had not. Anyway, let me get to Justin, as promised, in Fullerton, California. Justin, how are you doing?
Oh, hey, how are you doing today, sir?
Fine, thank you, sir.
All right, sir.
Nice.
Well, I also thought about something that, besides the Elon Musk question, I wanted to just say something from the Bible real quick. And
sure.
The last caller talked about, I think you responded about Jesus being the Son of God. Well, so it says in Philemon 1:4, I always thank my God as I remember you in my prayers because I hear about your faith in the Lord Jesus and your love for all the saints. And I'll just stop right there. So I want to say you very much so encourage me, brother, sir, James, and I think that the Son of God is superior to angels, but he is beneath the Father.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk, let's get to that.
Okay.
I think he had a great question where 92% said yes, they'd like to have a homeless shelter. But my only concern is, being a brilliant question to pose, a great idea to do, if it could actually happen, that he would fund out of his own pocket, sounds great. But what would happen to all these very susceptible victims?
You cut out there. What'd you say?
Mentally ill. Oh, sorry.
What would happen to all these? What?
To all these people that are homeless that have susceptible to different mental illnesses, just weaker and poor and have no recourse. You know, they're desperate. So a lot of times I wonder what can a scientist do except maybe to install a Neurolink, maybe to install the things that he's been creating in his mind where people gladly accept it for some type of shelter. So what do you think? Good idea? Let him open up the doors to all these people where he takes care of them.
South Dakota is Christy Noam. Thank you, Chris. I missed that note. You think that we should let the homeless people stay in the Twitter homeless shelter, Twitter headquarters converted to a homeless shelter, but put them on a Neurolink? Or Neurolink, what's a Neurolink? Does that control them? Mind control to make them more sensible and docile?
They'll be uploaded to the Neuralink, so their consciousness, and they're in the internet, so they're able to access things and be able to know everything about them. I don't know. It seems to me like he has a lot of great plans, but where they're leading to, I don't know. It's susceptible people, you know, very weak people that will be always around there if he's opening the doors. I don't know if the next thing is he wants to take care of. Bill Gates tried to take care of people with vaccinations around the world, and his science is debatable.
Right.
So I don't know if it's. I mean, I know Bezos has opened a portion of his Amazon places in Washington. You know, people are in need right now, so it sounds like a good idea for housing. It does sound like a good idea.
These people are part of the problem. They're the ones who are causing. I don't know about Elon. Okay. Maybe him too, but you know, like Amazon, like they are raking in the dough, if you will, rolling in the dough, amid these communist shutdowns that destroyed the local businesses, so that Amazon could rise, and all these other, you know, Twitter. Well, not so much Twitter, but Google and Netflix and Uber Eats, and all those companies that are kind of subsidized a little bit, I think. They're getting rich off of everybody else getting messed up, you know, with these shutdowns. that destroyed the local businesses, and they reaped the profit, raked in the profits. You know, I'm like stumbling over my words. I think that they
made lots of profit.
Yeah, they're part of the problem. They're part of the cause of this desperation, and they vote for they support liberals who exacerbate the homelessness problem. You know, like they campaigned against Trump. These companies did literally campaign against Trump in many different ways, literally and figuratively, right? Which figurative is real too. So I don't know what this. Are you for it or against this Neurolink idea?
Oh, let me dive into that then. Okay.
No, I don't want to dive into it. It's a yes or no, man. Are you for or against?
It's a for yes. It's for I would say for the possibility of being able to cure my back one day, being able to
you got
cure
a beta
lot
back?
of things, but yeah, so all the beta back excuses could be gone. You know, it sounds like a great solution for men.
I heard a solution that I'm going to share with you on Fox News, which is real news.
Please.
Sit-ups, planks, and stretching. Sit-ups, planking, and stretching. That's what Jesse Waters said helped his back more than anything.
Okay.
Do you do that?
Right there. I haven't done planks for a while. I can do that, though. I can do that.
Nice. So you don't need Neuralink for that? What the heck? You want a crutch?
No. I'm playing devil's advocate because there could be two sides to see things from two points of view. The other point of view might be, no, I wouldn't want anything installed into no chips inside of me, please. I don't want that either.
Yeah. Well,
but
anyway.
There is a lot of mind control and a lot of media control. The president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was evicted in a sense from that platform. He was kicked out.
Yeah.
And now you got Elon Musk, who could readily be more effective and powerful by being the major shareholder and getting his not just his tweets out, but his policies. And so now I'm not sure who's going to be running for president, you know, or who even needs to be president in the future, because politics is that. But guys like this can change things instantly, because they do have the wealth, like you were saying, because of the lockdowns. So there's very few options.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Justin. You cut out there. You cut out there. Your phone is cutting out a little bit, but I appreciate it. It's good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you. All right. Have a good night.
All right. You too. Good night. You're in Fullerton, California. It is not even 11 a.m., buddy. But anyway, maybe he's high. Let me get to Art in Ohio. He is on the line here. Wants to talk about Katanji. How are you doing, Art?
Hey. Well, good night to you, Hake. Good night. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Good to hear from you.
All right. Good. Always good to hear from you. Well, I want to talk about that pastor that was doing all that fake pandering and stuff. And it's like,
which pastor?
What did he do? He was talking about, it was some pastor that you or Jesse was saying on there. He was like boasting like, oh, we got a first black female Supreme Court judge.
Yes.
And this.
That was Chris's opening. Was it a Get It Off Your Chest Friday, or was it I forget what it was. It might have been men's, the manhood hour. But he played a clip of this black pastor saying, Ketanji, she was more qualified than all the other whites combined. Yeah, just total kissing up to him. Yeah. A black pastor.
From what the black pastor said, but he's worried don't stand for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you need the pastors, all y'all need to go ahead and just pack it up and shut up, because we already know where y'all going to. First of all, y'all didn't stand up and speak up for right and wrong when they was false. What's that called? Where they was falsely they was lying on Trump, and y'all was supporting that. Y'all ain't stand up and say nothing about none of this stuff when they was going in here. What was that? Going to these old folks' home, tricking the old folks into signing the vote for Biden or whatever they was doing with the ballots and stuff with the old people or whatnot. I ain't hear none of you pastors going here talking about how they was paying the certain people that was supporting the vaccines. They was paying them $10 for every person that they got to take the vaccine. I didn't hear none of y'all speaking up about that. I ain't hear none of y'all speaking up about telling y'all people they don't need to be taking the vaccine because they don't know nothing about it. I didn't hear the pastor stand up and say nothing about them when they shut down their congregations from coming to church over this fake so I don't want to hear nothing about y'all saying that, oh, we need to stand up for the first black Supreme Court pedophile judge. We're not standing up for her. And this further, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna get on. This further lets you know that men and female are not equal, which we already know.
Yeah.
Because these dummies, blacks and whites, are so stupid. Females is that y'all getting tricked into basically contradicting what you stand for. Y'all saying y'all don't like rapists and it's my body, my choice, and we only want to have abortions because we getting raped and stuff. But you put a judge in there that supports letting rapists free.
Yeah.
And
soft on crime.
Soft on crime, and then you getting tricked into it. You don't see that you contradict yourself, and that's how I know the females don't need to be in no type of position.
And you're talking about black pastors, not talking about this stuff about the shutdowns and all this.
Whites and blacks.
Oh, there were some. Oh yeah, no white liberal pastors that I know, but there were some white conservative pastors in all over the country in Canada and elsewhere against the shutdowns and against some of this madness and all the forced mandates and things like that. But you're right. There were a whole lot of. I mean, the church is so subverted with these liberal pastors all over the place. It's disgusting. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. I'll catch you later, man. I appreciate you. I love Jesse, Nick, Hake, Joel, Daniel. All y'all, God bless you or whatnot. And we still rolling with Trump, man. And the truth is going to stand when the world's on fire.
Nice. Thank you, Art. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right. God bless you, sir.
You as well. Soft on PDF files, as a caller on Nickstream called it. Did you guys catch Nickstream over the weekend? What an excellent Nickstream. Actually, there were a couple of them. Two that I know of. One on Friday. Right? And then another, which I caught much of that one. And then another one on Saturday. Nick went on and tried to catch some of my appearance on Azzmador's show. He did like a test stream. And then he kept on going. And played some video games. Some shoot-'em-up video games. Not necessarily for children, small children. Of course, the children should be in bed by 9, right? Or 8:30. But you do you, parents. Or you tell them what to do, parents. But yeah, check it out, Nickstream. Also on Jesse Lee Peterson's network. Very cool. Anchor Baby's new show is now called Nickstream. Nick Stream, all one word. He's on YouTube. I don't believe that there's any audio podcast currently. I don't believe that it's multi-streaming on multiple platforms, at least not at this point. But it's growing. Let me quickly cover in the last few minutes here. You guys feel like cringing? Gross! And I don't have any pictures, so you're welcome. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. Oh. I'm not sorry to bring this up to you, but I cringe at even bringing it up to you. Commie Nonsense Network reported to Hake, and Hake is passing it along. Jennifer Lopez is this singer woman who's been like a Hispanic pretty lady singer since I was like in high school. And now she's all like 50 or something like that, but kept healthy. And then Ben Affleck is this dumb liberal, Obama-loving, I think, actor. They're engaged again, like to be quote-unquote married, and they call them Bennifer. Ben as in Ben Affleck, Bennifer as in Jennifer. Is Ben Affleck like a normal white, or is he just not a normal white? A true love story. 2. I want to spit like ACL 2. The couple found their way back to one another after almost 2 decades, and we couldn't be more overjoyed. Writes this CNN morning information writer, Alexandra Meeks. So disgusting. Why are they into this? I'm shaking my head, baffled at women thinking that they think that this is, and I'm passing it along to you just because, like, why are people excited about this? And wasn't Jennifer Lopez married? Or am I confusing her with, like, that baseball player who got in trouble at one point? What a mess, huh? What a total mess. Anyway, two egos. Yeah. Actually, it's the same ego destroying the people, right? The same Satan putting the people together with their false hope for quote-unquote love, and they're a mess. Anyway, oh my gosh, we are overtime. Thank you, guys. You're gossiping like Wendy Williams. Thank you, man. I love Wendy Williams. Shout out. How you doing? But I'm straight. All right, guys. Thank you. TheHakeReport.com/appearances for my Azzmador appearance from this past Saturday. Thanks and take care. Adios.